Hi, this is Richard Patterson reading another post from my blog, thinklessandgrowrich.com. And this one's called Getting to Know Yourself Better, the Key to Lasting Peace. There's the monkey mind dressed up as a monk. To know yourself as the being behind the thinker, the stillness underneath the mental noise, the love and joy underneath the pain, is freedom, salvation, enlightenment. Eckhart Tolle. So, in my work as a meditation teacher and spiritual coach, I often talk to people seeking relief from painful patterns such as anxiety, fear, worry, compulsive thinking, self doubt, self criticism, etc. And there's one thing that pretty much everyone I talk to has in common. Most of these people have been trying for years, or often for decades even, to free themselves from mind created suffering through the path of self improvement, through trying to fix or change the content of their minds, hoping that one day a calmer, more peaceful version of themselves will emerge. And this approach is perfectly understandable. I followed this for years myself. It makes total sense. If you believe that the mind is broken, then trying to fix it is the logical thing to do. But in my experience, this approach seldom works. And here are a few reasons why. One, you can't think yourself out of a prison that's made of thoughts. So the irony with the self-improvement approach is that thinking itself is the issue. Two, restlessness and agitation are the nature of the mind. This is why the Buddha used the expression monkey mind to describe his mind. And thirdly, we have little or no control over the self-arising thoughts that appear in our heads. Thoughts, feelings, emotions literally appear by themselves. We don't choose them. So, as the Indian teacher Nisargadatta says, there's no such thing as peace of mind. Mind means disturbance. Restlessness itself is mind. So lasting peace can never be found on the level of the mind itself. And if your peace is dependent on the mind being a certain way, you'll inevitably be disappointed again and again. And I say lasting peace because while it's certainly possible to experience relative peace for a period of time, all feelings are transient by nature and don't last. They come and go. So at some point, the feeling of peace will inevitably disappear and you'll experience the opposite: restlessness and agitation. Two types of peace, but fortunately, there's another solution. After years of working on myself, trying to produce a calmer, more peaceful version of my mind, I stumbled upon a far simpler, far more effective, and best of all, immediate solution. You know, the problem with the self-improvement approach is that we're looking for peace in the future, and what we really want is peace right now, yeah? So I discovered that there's another type of peace, a peace that's constant, unchanging, ever present, and best of all, that has little or nothing to do with what's going on in the mind. I'm talking about the peace that Eckhart Tolle is alluding to in the quote at the top of this article. To know yourself as the being behind the thinker, the stillness underneath the mental noise, the love and joy underneath the pain is freedom, salvation, enlightenment. When you get to know yourself as the being behind the thinker, you discover that there's a peace within you that's not only constant, unchanging, and ever present. And here's the real key, but has little or even nothing to do with what's going on in the mind. So the ocean provides a good analogy. On the surface, the ocean's always turbulent, always in motion. Sometimes it's relatively calm, relatively peaceful, but it's never completely still. Movement is the nature of the surface of the ocean. Drop a few meters below the surface, however, and you discover another world. In the depths, the ocean is still silent, peaceful, and unchanging. So, in order to access the stillness in the depths of the ocean, you don't have to fix the surface. The two have nothing to do with each other. In fact, you don't have to do anything at all with the surface of the ocean. And it's the same with the mind. You don't have to fix the surface of the mind in order to experience peace. You need to shift the focus of your attention. And yeah, we'll come to that shortly, how to do that. Behind the thinker, behind the mental noise, there's an ocean of peace, calm, and stillness in the depths of your being. Unlike the feeling of peace, which is temporary and comes and goes, the peace within is ever present and unchanging. It's the ground of your being. It's who you essentially are. And through getting to know yourself as peace, as opposed to the mind, all of your issues are resolved. There's one solution for all the issues, whether it's anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, self-judgment. The solution is the same. The great irony is that everyone, even the most restless, agitated, messed up person in the world, is intimately familiar with this inner space, with their true nature. It's who you are, after all. But looking for solutions on the surface, most people continually overlook the peace that's ever present within. Getting to know yourself. So it's clear from all of the above that getting to know yourself behind the thinker is the key to peace, joy, and inner freedom. Key to everything, really. So how to go about it? Well, over the past 20 years or so, I've developed a three-pronged approach, which I believe is the quickest way for anyone to make the shift from inner turmoil to inner peace, from identifying with the surface movements of the mind to recognizing the deep peace within. And here are the three steps. The first one is to get to know the mind better. Secondly, getting to know yourself better. So getting to know yourself as peace. And the third one, loving kindness and self-compassion, which I'll talk about a bit more later. So first of all, getting to know the mind. So Abraham Lincoln once famously said, "I don't like that man. I must get to know him better." And the same is true of the mind. When you get to know it better, you come to see that it doesn't have nearly as much power over you as you may have thought. In many ways, the path of working on yourself, the path of trying to fix the mind, serves to further strengthen its grip on you. What you resist persists. The underlying premise of all self-development is the belief that there's something wrong, something that needs to be fixed in order for you to be okay. And as long as we believe there's something wrong with the mind or with ourselves, no amount of self-development will ever be enough. There'll always be something else to fix. You make some inroads on your anxiety, and then the next issue pops up. You work on your sadness, and then the next issue comes up. It's a path without end. Far better to leave the mind alone to do its thing and not to get involved. So, what is there to know about the mind? Well, here are a few things. The mind is restless and agitated by nature. Don't expect it to be quiet and peaceful. This insight alone is a game changer for many people. You'll never experience ongoing peace of mind. It's not possible. Thoughts and feelings are not inherently good, bad, right, or wrong. It's your labeling that makes them so. You don't need to resolve your fear, anxiety, unworthiness, etc., before you can experience peace. You can experience it right now, exactly as you are. Yeah, give me a couple of minutes of your time and I'll demonstrate this to you. Engaging with the mind is not mandatory. You can choose not to get involved, which is another way of saying the mind only has as much power as you give it. And here's the big one. You're not your thoughts. The mind is not you. Who you are is far greater than any thought that comes and goes, any feeling, any emotion. So I've developed two powerful frameworks to help people break free from the prison of the mind identification. So I call them the 7 steps to inner freedom and the 7 false beliefs that will keep you trapped in your head forever. So getting to know the mind is the first step. Getting to know yourself better, or more accurately, getting to know yourself better with a capital S. This was the massive game changer for me when, as a novice monk back in 2004, I had a life-changing realization. After years of trying to fix my restless monkey mind, trying to what I now call iron the surface of the ocean, I realized I didn't need to. I realized that the peace I was seeking could never be found as a feeling. because all feelings are transient. They come and go. I realized that within me, behind the mind, as Eckhart Tolle puts it, was a vast field of still, silent awareness that's ever present, unchanging, and most importantly, that has nothing to do with what's going on in the mind. As the Buddhist nun Pema Chodron puts it, you are the sky. Everything else is weather. So as long as we're identified with the mind, peace will come and go with the thought clouds that pass across the sky. Now, sometimes there are happy clouds, sometimes there are peaceful clouds, sometimes there are unhappy clouds, sad, lonely clouds. All types of clouds come and go across the sky, but none of them touch the sky itself. So the secret to continuous and unbroken peace is to recognize that no matter what's going on in the mind, the sky remains unchanged and unaffected. The still, silent space within you remains constant and at peace, no matter what is going on in your head. Realizing this is the key to unbroken peace. And how to make this your direct experience? Through meditation and through practice. But not just any old meditation. It needs to be specific and focused. So helping people discover this space is my passion. So get in touch with me if you'd like help. You can email me at richard@thinklessandgrowrich.com. And, I'm always very happy to discuss, how to find this peace for yourself. And now to the third step, loving kindness and compassion. Patterns such as anxiety, worry, fear, unworthiness are almost always accompanied by a tendency to be overly self-critical. And that's why it's important as you go through the previous two steps, getting to know the mind, getting to know yourself, to do so with an attitude of curiosity, playfulness, gentleness, and loving kindness. To be sincere but not serious. When we embark on the journey of self-discovery for the first time, we're like spiritual toddlers, learning to walk. And it's inevitable that we'll fall a lot in the beginning. And that's why it's so important to practice loving kindness and compassion. But the great news is that you're given endless chances to get up, hit the reset button, and keep moving forward. You can't miss your true nature, with a little guidance, a little direction. It's pretty big. And, get in touch with me if you'd like some help. It's what I've been doing for years. So I hope you found that helpful. Namaste.